Hello and welcome to, another bank holiday weekend edition of the Sheffield Hopcast. We are still in lockdown. We did think about all having a drive up to Durham and doing the show from there this weekend, but we decided that it wouldn't be appropriate. So here we are. We're still all in our respective homes. We have two guests with us today. We have Heather and Michael, who run Out and About. We'll meet them properly in just a minute. Sean set us the challenge at the end of last week's edition to each come up with a beer that is inspired by our guests this week. So let's see what we've come up with. Sean, it's only right to come to you first.
Okay. The pressure is on. So the obvious thing would have been to go for Michael and Heather's beer that they've done with Lost Industry, but of course I left it back at the warehouse on Friday. So I've made a complete bollocks up of my original plan. And so what I've gone for instead, I think Heather and Michael are a brilliant example of modern day Sheffield as far as beer is concerned. It has a reputation for being a bit of a pint of cask type destination, but with people like Michael and Heather running brilliant pubs, and both I'm sure love a 4% cask, but both of them I know love interesting, different and world-leading beers. So I've gone for a Steel City beer. They represent Steel City, and I've gone for a Steel City beer, which is a shame. Of course, we all hate Dave with a passion, and so advertising his beer and giving him a little bit of a platform on here is not something I'm particularly comfortable with. But of course, this beer is also linked to Heather particularly, in that the pub that we'll hear a talk about shortly is linked to the Crow. And this is Corvus Crow, is a beer that Adam, Chris and Kate brewed with Dave. And originally a brute sour IPA, New Zealand dry hopped. But this particular version that Dave's just released has been aged for 6 months in Bordeaux red wine barrels with lots of grapes. So nice and modern, nice and complex. And so that's why it's inspired by Heather and Michael.
Good stuff. Sounds like a very interesting beer. Looking forward to hearing what you make of it. Right then, let's go to Laura. Of course, when we go to Laura, there's two things we have to find out. One, which is her beer choice, and the other, which is her choice of attire.
Cool. So I have gone for the obvious choice and have got my hands on the recent Lost Industry, Sheffield Beer Week and Out and About release, A Simple Life, Carrot and Beetroot Gose. I love beetroot, so I'm very excited to try this, and I really hope it's pink, so I'll find that out shortly.
Very pink.
And t-shirt wise, it's Two Little Foxes, and it's from a holiday I went on 4 years ago, I think. It's a brewery called Equinox in Fort Collins in Colorado, which is the best place I've ever been drinking beer, and the whole kind of beer, the town in general is the best place. Just for the beer industry there is completely, it's just so much more progressive than anything I've ever seen in this country. The pubs really feel like they're all for everyone. They don't have to make a big deal out of anyone being welcome, because everybody just is. And I think it's something that we can really look towards in this country, and that the work that people like Heather and Michael do helps us get there. So that's why I'm wearing this t-shirt as well. So yeah.
Good stuff. All right then. Adam, or is it Barry this week, or is it Adam?
We'll find out. How are we doing?
Oh no, it is Adam. It's definitely Adam.
Good. Okay. I too went and got a kind of the Out and About collaboration. On my second attempt, actually, I knew found out they had some at the Green Shop, which I've talked about before. So I wandered down after work Tuesday. Just as I was getting there, I could see him closing all the doors up, and I realised it shut at 5 o'clock, and it was 5 o'clock. So I had to double back round with a 4-year-old wondering why we'd not gone into the shop. I know why it's closed. So I managed to get down again, and I've got a couple of cans of it. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Excellent stuff. I was paying attention to what you were saying, but I was distracted by Laura pouring the beer, and that is a cracking colour for a beer. It must be said, that is a beautiful colour. Looking forward to that. Adam, it's going to match your T-shirt really well.
Yeah.
Right, so on to me and my selection. So I've been inspired by, obviously, Michael is bar manager at the Devonshire Cat, which we'll talk about. So I used it as an excuse to. Because the aim is to never really. To a microphone going on there.
Yeah, wait,
okay, we're all right again. The aim is to never drink the same beer twice unless it's really, really good. Long story short, I'm having Wanderer because it's good. That's my reasoning. So. Yeah, that's the much shortened version of that. So on to our guests. Heather is, I hope I'm going to get this right, bar manager at the Rutland Arms. Michael is bar manager at the Devonshire Cat, both places that we've done episodes of the podcast from before. In fact, the Rutland on numerous occasions that we've done episodes from the upstairs room there. Together, you are co-founders of Out and About, and we'll kind of find out more about that in a moment. But beers first. So, Heather, what have you got?
I've got a 4th birthday special New Zealand pale. I just really like New Zealand pales and like 2-all, and it's got a really pretty label that matches my hair, which is another reason, because I like it when beers match my hair. So
you should have done the lipstick to match the bottom colour. You should have done like a purple lipstick and like your hair and gone full.
Nice. I mean, the good thing is, I mean, you guys don't have to justify the connection of the beer to you because you've picked it. So, like, you know, there's no connection needed.
It out the fridge because it matched my hair, and I dyed my hair about an hour ago. So it was feeling quite inspirational to do something that was blue.
Brilliant. And Michael, what have you gone for?
I have actually gone with the theme a little bit. I've gone for the Birthday Dinosaurs, which is a collab between Marble and the Queer Brewing Project. Just a papaya and guava Berliner Weiss, like 4%. It's a beer that's celebrating the first birthday of the Queer Brewing Project, and their original beer, which was a Dinosaurs Would Die, with Marble Brewery in Manchester.
I have seen that a couple of places and thought it sounds beautiful. So another one that I'll be looking forward to hearing what you think to it. Okay, so let's talk about Out and About. You've been going for what, just over a year, is it now? And I guess between you, just tell us all about it.
Okay. So we started a year ago in March. We came up with the idea almost 2 years ago now at Pride in Sheffield, so it would have been July 2018, and that aspect of it was just that we were drunk after many beers at Pride, couldn't really go somewhere that we and the people that we were with, because we were in quite a big group of people, knew that we could feel comfortable in like looking a certain way and definitely showing our queerness. And after a lot of drunken chats about that, we decided that we'd start this, which we aim just to be a sort of social group that created and tried to like represent social places that were like safe spaces for people, and show people that there was a safe space for them to drink within the craft beer community.
Yeah, I'd say that you've covered it pretty well there. It's like Heather said, we didn't, when we wanted to go somewhere after Pride, and we were all dressed up in rainbow flags and all the stuff you wear when you're at Pride, and we weren't really sure where we could go, but would serve the kind of beer that we enjoy drinking, whilst also us in all our garb being welcomed. Obviously, the pubs that we work at are great for that, but you don't always want to go to the place you work, especially when you've not had a few beers at Pride. And so we thought actually it was a good thing to start an initiative whereby people knew that it would be safe. People could recognise pubs that would welcome them and make them feel safe. And I know I have a lot of queer friends who actually do avoid going to like typical beer pubs, especially like a cask ale. They like, oh, it's an old man's pub, and they have lots of associations with that, and feel unsafe there. So it's kind of trying to break that barrier down.
Okay, so a year and a few weeks on, although a lot of those weeks have been fairly quiet ones in terms of the beer scene. How are things going then? How's the group progressed over the course of that kind of 14, 15 months?
So, I mean, when we started, we didn't really know what to expect, and we were quite, because we started in Sheffield Beer Week, we had quite a big first event, but no one really knew who we were because we just had a very local following on social media. But since then, we've definitely progressed throughout the country and a little bit overseas as well, mainly because we've not seen many people doing the same thing, and I think we've realised that there is an audience for it. This year we went to Friends, Family and Beer, which was really exciting. Doing a talk there was, I assume, the highlight of both of our years.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually drinking out my Friends, Family and Beer glass.
Me too. So
Oh, nice.
so that, yeah, we got asked to talk there. It was meant to be 15 minutes. We ended up talking for 45 minutes, rabbiting on about probably the same stuff that we'll rabbit on about today, but that was probably the best thing that's happened in the past 13 months.
Adam, I'm interested in your makeup advice. Are we all going to get some advice individually, or are you lipstick for Heather? Really, I'm thinking about using moisturizer.
Heather goes quite extreme with colours of lipstick. So I just thought that like a dark purple wouldn't be out of the question to match.
We should have a makeup corner each week for you, just to suggest a few ideas.
I have got some lip gloss literally sitting here, a purple one as well at that.
If you have a live podcast, I will happily be the makeup artist for the I'll take that job.
I think we've got James.
James has got Wanderer, I think, as well. So do you think this explains why he keeps wandering off?
No, it's something to do with my internet signal keeps dropping out and it's resetting my settings. It's doing something very strange. But anyway, what I was getting at was kind of asking you really your take, and this is up to anyone really, kind of your take on the beer scene in Sheffield and kind of how open-minded it is, and you know how you've been received with the group, because I know you've done some pub crawls and things like that as well, haven't you? What kind of reaction have you had, generally speaking?
It's mostly positive, definitely. There's not been a whole lot of resistance to it. There's been the odd grumble and the odd message and stuff like that. That's well to be expected. I think it has been overwhelmingly positive. But then I think a lot of that is from people we know and trust in Sheffield and know us anyway. And because when we do our pub crawls, it's like myself and Heather are always there, plus lots of other people from around the industry. We're quite easily recognisable, and people know us and know that we're queer and have always been very friendly. I think what we did discover is that like we wanted to open it up to more venues rather than just the ones we knew and we were familiar with, because we were finding that we were going to the same ones that we were going to anyway. We weren't really making any progress. We weren't really like breaking down any barriers. We were just going to things we knew were safe already. So I think it does depend. We definitely do get some strange looks on pub crawls sometimes, and there has been a couple of incidents, but it has been overwhelmingly positive.
I do think Sheffield as well is quite a positive place for that, and it's got quite a history of a lot of queer history in Sheffield in terms of beer anyway, which I think has made it a great place to start something.
Is this your third beer you've done, or your second beer you've done collaboratively? You did the fourth.
Third or fourth. We did the launch beer with Aberdale, which was setting out. Then we did a chocolate orange stout with Blue Bee. And then was it this?
It was this, because we were meant to do it Beatnik the week we went into lockdown.
Yeah, and then we did the Simple Life as well. Yeah, and we've done the collab with Aberdale and the Queer Brewing Project also. I can't remember which order we did those things. It was very quick. I think
four.
This is technically the fourth, because the collab with the Queer Brewing Project was the third.
Yeah.
Do you find that's quite a good kind of way of sort of spreading the word then to people? Obviously, both work at bars, so do you tend to get a lot of questions about what it is, or what is it kind of a good sort of starting point about talking about the beer, or do people just, you find that they're just drinking it anyway? It's just have no association to it? Or...
A lot of people drink it anyway, because with two of the beers that we've had on, so both of the Aberdale ones, both times people have gone, oh, this is a really colourful pump clip. I really like how colourful this pump clip is. I'm going to buy that beer. And I'm like, you don't necessarily get why it's so colourful, but at least you're buying it because it's colourful. So it kind of works.
I think one of the reasons that I particularly like the stuff that you do as well is obviously it comes from an LGBTQ plus focus, but it's about being a nice environment for everyone, you know, and it's encouraging anybody who might not feel safe going into a pub to come in and like, that's what I really like, that the events are completely inclusive, that you've done. I've really enjoyed the ones that I've come on, and the range of people that have been there has been, really, really lovely. It's just a completely all-encompassing thing with a focus that sometimes gets swept under the carpet. So I just wanted to add that as well, that it is something that is nice for our entire beer community.
100%. Yeah, we're definitely, while we do tend to focus on queer stuff, because both myself and Heather are queer, it makes it a lot easier to focus on that. Obviously, it is just aimed at being welcoming to everyone. And one of the things I'm most proud of with Out and About and the socials we've been doing is anyone who's come to one of the socials will know that the atmosphere is always really, really nice. It's always really welcoming. It's always really relaxed. And like, I've had lots of people comment on coming to a social and saying, oh, well, this has been great. Like, it's a lot less like formal than I thought it'd be. It's a lot less like structured. It's just everyone chills out and has a nice time, and there's very little judgment. I'm really proud of the atmosphere we managed to create in our social.
I'm going to ask this now because I'll forget later on, or we'll be in a rush later on because we'll only have a couple of minutes left. But if anyone wants to find out more about the group or get involved, or obviously at the moment, I guess there's no events coming up, but once we start to see a bit of normality restored, and maybe you do have some more events on, what's the best way of people kind of keeping tabs on what you're doing?
Social media.
Yeah, it's all just Out and About Chef on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We post regularly on all of them, and we always answer messages on wherever people message us at. So yeah, all forms of social media are great places to find us, and to just see if you don't want to chat to us, we will post every event we're doing. We did a Zoom the other day, so we might do another one of those soon if people are interested.
I'm still recovering from that Zoom, so we'll have to see.
That's become story of lockdown, isn't it? Zoom hangover. It's become a,
yeah.
it's become a thing. So moving on to some beer news this week. So the Sheffield Steel City Beer Festival isn't happening this year, which we touched on last week. We thought that would be the case. The other big news in the beer world is Marston's merging with Carlsberg, which means that Brewdog is now the largest independent brewery in the UK. Any thoughts on this, Sean? You're our beer industry commentator. What's your take on it?
James, I'd missed that completely. So sometimes I've got my head down so much looking at what we do. I had totally missed that. So
wow, happened yesterday.
Did it? All right, yeah. Totally missed.
I think it happened a couple of days before. We discussed it at our social on Friday.
Oh right, maybe I missed it.
I think it happened. I think it happened Thursday. Because we discussed it, we had a conversation about it at the social.
Cool. And what was said at the social about it?
I think a lot of people kind of saw it coming a little bit. Obviously, that like you said, that leaves Brewdog as the biggest now technically independent brewery in the country, and I think it leaves St Austell's as maybe the biggest family-run business now, rather than Marston's. I think there was mixed feelings. I think this is just going to be inevitable. I think during lockdown, I think we're going to actually see a lot more of breweries being succumbed to other bigger companies, just because it's a tough time for everyone. It's inevitable there's going to be buyouts, I think, from the people who can afford to do so, to the people who have to kind of make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fair points, and be interesting to see now. Obviously, it's going to be a different era of brewing, isn't it? When things do start to get moving again, and we may well see a lot of other breweries ultimately having to merge or come up with other ways of kind of keeping going. Right, let's talk about the beers then. Sean, what's your Steel City like? Is it as good as your description kind of lined it up as it was going to be?
Hold on. It was absolutely bone dry. Which a brew type year should be, of course. Just a gentle sourness to it. Both I and Dave, unpronounceable, of course, who run Steel City, we're not massive fans of barrel aging often. I know Dave likes a rum barrel aged beer, but we will often challenge people to say that no barrel aged beer has ever been improved on its original form. But I liked this particularly. The red wine barrel aging gave it a nice dark fruitiness. and I could get grapes from it as well. So not a beer I would particularly pick or select as a favourite of mine in terms of its style, but it's all gone in an absolute flash. So really enjoyed it. Don't tell Dave, and I don't think he watches these, so I think we're safe on that front.
Interested in trying that actually, because you remember a few weeks ago I mentioned trying that.
Barry is back.
Yes.
Come on,
Barry.
It was one of the days we had on draft when we had to close, and it was really upsetting because it was really nice. Dave texted me saying, "Do you want me to bring you a Papa Clump clip?" And then I think we closed the next day, and I was like, "It's fine, don't worry."
Laura, what's yours like? Sorry.
Go on.
You sure?
Sorry, I was just Well, I guess this is joint review, isn't it, from Laura and Adam? I mean, and no pressure here, but you've literally got two of the people that brewed the beer right below you on the screen. So yeah,
it's really good.
I'm really enjoying it. You go first, Adam. I've talked way more than you today.
I actually had the other can the other day, so I've already had it. But yeah, I won't really know what to expect from it, to be honest. And it is quite an unusual mix of ingredients for beer. I don't think I've knowingly had any, never mind them together. But yeah, it's really fruity, even though neither of them are fruits. Yeah, it's good. It's I can't really think what it tastes like really, but you do kind of get that sort of, you can tell it's got something slightly more savoury in it, but it's still quite fruity as well. It's kind of it's unusual,
earthy,
but it's not
Adam. Earthy fruitiness, an earthy fruitiness.
Earthy, yeah. That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Well, they're both vegetables that you can make cakes out of, aren't they? So yeah, I think I'm really, really enjoying it. I think you can taste both the carrot and the beetroot. There's a slight little salinity to it that's really lovely as well, but really nice acidity. Like you say, really, really fruity, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Good work, team.
What made you come up with that? I was interested who came up with the ingredients and what did that come from anything in particular?
It was inspired by the Friends of Edward Carpenter Foundation, which some of the profits from the beer are going to go to. And Edward Carpenter was like a Sheffield-based poet and socialist who, around in the late 1800s, who championed gay rights as well. And he very much championed the idea of the market garden, like growing locally in small areas, they sell locally. So we thought we'd use like things that he would have had on his allotment, basically carrot and beetroot. And yeah, the Friends of Edward Carpenter are basically a Sheffield organisation that's trying to get a memorial of him in the city centre. Awesome. So that's what it's inspired by.
Awesome. Cool. Heather, the first time that you drank the beer, were you happy with it?
I tried it on cask first, and I wasn't that. I feel like because it was on, we had it on at Sheffield Beer Week on cask and keg at the Devonshire Cat. Yeah, and on cask I was a little bit not. I didn't hate it, but I didn't necessarily want another half when I finished it. And then on keg I did really enjoy it. And then I had another can on Friday, and I kind of forgotten entirely what it tasted like because it had been 2 months. And I did enjoy it. It wouldn't be something I'd normally go for because I'm not a massive fan of earthy flavours. And if I'm drinking something that's sour, I'd normally have it like so sour that my eyes hurt. But it's not my favourite beer in the world, but I'm a fan.
Good stuff. And what's your beer like tonight?
It's nice. It's like not overly. I'm not into the sort of West Coast thing that seems to be around loads at the moment, when everything just tastes a little bit too hot burny. I think sometimes it's really nice, really light, classic sort of New Zealand pale.
Yeah, on that subject, actually, what I remember why I love Wanderer so much is that it's just really well balanced. Like it is a deeply, very, very hoppy beer. But I had double dry hopped Transmission from North this week, which I've been looking forward to for ages. And I had it, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to do. And I couldn't figure out why. And I realised it's because it didn't have the balance. Like it was just too much. It was just overbearing, and doing a really balanced, that's not got that hot burn beer is a great success, which I think is what Wanderer does really, really well. So very impressed with it. Michael, what's yours like? It sounded fantastic by the description.
Yeah, it really is good. It's not particularly tart. It's got a slight, almost like funkiness to it. really fruity. You get lots of the guava through. It's got a nice dry finish at the end as well. I think it's got a lot of flavour for 4%, definitely.
Are you
I
stocking
really
that,
want
Sean?
to try that beer. I loved the dinosaur style last year. So
I think they've sold out now, at least at the Marble Shop.
I might know a guy that's still got some, Sean.
Yeah, we took 72 cans of it, and so it went really well when we posted it online. But we're also putting it into a lot of our 50/50 boxes. We've got a lot of people after sour beers and that from those. So it's still about in plentiful supply. So no panic from anyone. There's no panic.
All right, I guess we should talk venues as well then, because obviously at the moment, we are still in lockdown. It might be that in the next few days that we get a bit of an idea about what the next stage of stuff reopening is going to be, but it does feel like pubs and stuff are a little while away. So you're both in, or you both work at venues that obviously are just closed at the moment. There's been a few places that have opened back up doing things like kind of, off-site beers and things like that. Heather, what's kind of the situation with the Rutland? Are you all kind of stomping at the bit, ready to get back?
Yeah, I mean, I personally am. The moment I found out I couldn't work anymore, I had an hour-long cry because I'm that weirdo that gets upset that they can't do work. I miss it. Eventually, yeah, it's that line between really wanting to go back and really not wanting to go back until it's safe enough, which is a lot of the question at the moment. But I can't wait. I just can't wait to be back behind a bar. I think I'd go behind any bar right now. Just want to serve a drink more than anything.
Sounds really sad. It's like over 2 months since we've been in an actual pub now. And it just
all of you that have come in on the first day that I'm working are going to get the worst pulled pints. That I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I'm just going to be stood there. I've been trying to practice in my dreams, but I don't think I can do it.
And Michael, Devonshire Cat, obviously, other kind of side of town, or certainly like a little bit further kind of towards the centre of town, and a bigger pub as well. I mean, I guess in terms of if pubs have to have kind of social distancing and stuff like that, the Devonshire Cat it's a pretty big space, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that could work in our benefit. However, I think city centre pubs at the moment, I read a really good article on it. I can't remember who it's by now, so I can't quote it, unfortunately. Recently, how city centre pubs are going to be more adversely affected than other pubs because obviously a lot of people, the city centre is mainly for workers and the after work trade. If no one's going to work, then no one's buying pints, whereas your local that's outside the city centre probably is going to get their trade back a lot quicker. So I think there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with office. And my sister works in a city centre office, and she's being told she won't be going back till at least January.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to predict, though, isn't it? And just gonna have to see what happens. But I can't wait to go back to the pub.
We'll link in Rutland into it. The same has happened with the universities. Universities don't know that they're going to go back for a very, very long time. So, that's a lot of trade for both myself and Heather that's not going to be there, presumably, for a long time. So, I think...
we could only fit 5 people inside that pub if everyone's distancing.
Exactly.
So it won't be too hard to get full with social distancing techniques.
Yeah.
I think just the staff sitting there every night would fill our quota.
Cool. Right, we've got about 6 minutes left. Let's talk about any good bank holiday beers that anyone's had.
Right, Verdant. Yeah, I had a Verdant beer, and typically the name was particularly difficult to remember, but I think it was something like I am going to need your signature or something of that nature. And I think it's a mosaic pale and stunning, mandarin orange, lovely and delicate. Was less than 5%, I think, from memory. And that's the best beer I've had in the last month or so. Really just classy beer.
The one that impressed me, which I didn't even think I was going to enjoy. I kind of got one just because they were available where I was, which is the Urchin Brun, the St. Mars of the Desert one, which is like a Belgian brown with orange peel or something.
Yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful. Like it's just not my style at all. But I've been and got another one. So yeah,
I've heard a
really
lot of
enjoyed
people say that it's if you don't think you like that style, it's still worth having
it.
that
yeah,
beer.
beautiful. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else, Laura? Anything good?
I've mainly been drinking Keller pills and Bloody Marys this bank holiday. It has not been a particularly beer focused one for me, but they've both been good. Got a box of lager from Lost and Grounded a couple of weeks ago that's been going down very well. So yeah, I've just been chilling out and enjoying those really.
It's funny you should say that because I think that's what's mostly stopped my fridge is Lost and Grounded lager. I must have had like several like 12 and 24 packs from Lost and Grounded to get in for all the lagers. I think like this weekend I had a really nice mango and chili gose from Corehead Brewery in Finland.
Ooh.
And it was really strange because like obviously you expect it just like a fiery mango beer, but it was complete opposite. The mango added a nice sweetness, but it didn't really taste it. It tasted like chili. It's like the flavour of chili came without much of the heat. And I've never really had a beer that did that before. I expected like a big fruity beer that had a bit of heat to it. And it was the opposite. The flavours more of chili, and it just wasn't spicy at all. But it was really, really nice.
Have you got a hot sauce jumper on, Heather? Just while
course
Michael
she has.
mentions chili.
Of course she has.
That is
Got little beer
amazing.
bottles.
It's because, much like
Ice
Laura
cold.
has been saying, I've got this for when we finish.
Yeah.
Like,
Is
this
that a
Bloody Mary
massive Bloody Mary?
half an hour.
It's like a pint of Bloody Mary.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's ice.
Oh, yeah, it's still a
Is
pint.
that
isn't
even
it?
legal? A pint of Bloody Mary?
Yeah.
I'm not sure you'll be able to serve that in the pub.
James, I
Yeah,
should also
yeah.
confess. James, I should also confess that I had a litre of sangria last night as well.
Don Simon.
It wasn't Don Simon this time, no. It was a Benidorm gift from my parents. But Don Simon is my favourite,
Oh yeah.
but it was a different one. But I still enjoyed it. Cut a bit of banana into it, plenty of ice, and gorgeous. So a nice change from beer.
Just say Don Simon again. Just say it again.
Don Simon.
You managed to say it with this brilliant Barnsley twang, which is just fantastic. I love it. I love it. Right. Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so we'll do beer selfie in a minute. So get your glasses and your cans ready, and we'll do that. Next week is our moonshine special, Laura.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So
Glad
that is all
glad
we
you're
can
all
say.
paying
It's our moonshine special next week. So all will be revealed 7 days from now. Right then, glasses and cans in the air. And pull whatever face you so wish.
Oh wait, I need to put some more beer in mine.
Oh, all right.
Sorry. I'm ready.
Brilliant. That's that done. And yes, brilliant. Well, Heather, Michael, thank you very much. The best of luck with the future of Out and About, and obviously with your respective venues once the world is back to normal and we're all pouring into your respective pubs for many, many, many more beers. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Us.
And have a great rest of Bank Holiday weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.